to the Love Lab Podcast, a safe place to get real about sex. Whether you're a man, woman, single, or couple, this is the show for you.
We are your hosts, Kevin Anthony and Celine Remy, and we are here to guide you to go from good to amazing in the bedroom and beyond.
All right, welcome back to the Love Lab Podcast. This is episode 231, and it is titled, How to Give a Breast Massage Like a Pro. Okay, before we get started, I just have to say something. Inevitably, people will comment on YouTube, and they will say things like, I can't believe all you did was talk the entire time. How come we didn't get a demonstration of how to do this? Well, the answer to that is the same as it always is. If I were to actually put videos on YouTube where I demonstrated sexual techniques, I would get suspended and lose my channel. Does everybody understand that? Is that clear? Number two, of course, this is primarily a podcast, and most people are listening, not watching the video. So, does everybody understand? That's why you're not going to see a live demo of what's happening, but you are going to get fantastic information where even without the visual, you will be able to take what you learn in today's episode and give a great breast massage and make your woman very happy. So I highly suggest that you stay tuned because you will still learn something even without the visual. All right. Before we dive right in, a word from our sponsor. Do you want to join the secret club of men who are great in bed? Then check out Power and Mastery. It is the most complete sexual mastery training for men. Whether you want to have harder erections, last longer, or increase your sexual skills, there is something for you at powerandmastery.com. And I'm going to make this a little bit sweeter also. If you are not aware, we've talked about it before, but if you are not aware, in the sexual mastery component of the Power and Mastery series, we do have a live video demonstration with real breasts in it of a breast massage. We also have a live video demonstration of a pussy massage. So both of those are there. That is a place where we can put it up there in an educational way to help people get better at their sexual skills and then not get in a bunch of trouble. So powerandmastery.com, powerandmastery.com, that's where you can see your live demo. All right, so as always, when I do these shows now on my own, I always wish that Celine was here with me, because she has so much value to add in all of these areas. Now, especially when talking about giving a breast massage, having her perspective would be really valuable. So one of the things that I did in preparing for this show was I went to a blog article that she had written on breast massage. And so I was able to pull information from that. So you will be getting some of her perspective. And of course, us being partners for so many years, me having given her many a breast massage, I can also tell you how she felt about it and what she would say and all of that stuff. So you are still going to get some of Celine's perspective here. And right off the bat, reasons why you should give her a breast massage. Most of this, not all of it, but most of this comes from her blog article. So I'm going to give you some reasons why you should consider giving your woman a breast massage. Number one, it increases blood flow and lymph flow, which is very important. Number two, it can reduce menstrual flow. So for women who have rather painful periods or really big menstrual flows, this is a technique that can actually help reduce that a bit. It can alleviate tenderness in the breasts. So whether that's due to her cycle or whether that's due to nursing or things like that, it can definitely help reduce the tenderness. It can reduce scar tissue marks after surgery. Regular breast massage can also help restore and develop breasts. Because there are no muscles in the breast tissue, the only method of getting vibrant toned breast is by activating the circulation through massages. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't exercises that you can do that will help. They will. They will help tone the muscles and the ligaments underneath the breasts. And the ligaments, we'll talk about those in a moment, that help support the breasts. So physical exercise will definitely help. But when it comes to sort of stimulating the blood flow in those areas, massage is also a great tool. The improved circulation will help tone up the tissues, which can help tighten sagging skin. And as I was just mentioning with the ligaments, sagging is part of the natural aging process. The Cooper's ligaments in the breasts are mainly responsible for maintaining the breast's tone and shape. And when the ligaments lose elasticity and weaken, the appearance of the breasts will change, sometimes drastically. So massage can help keep those ligaments younger, more elastic. The breast massage will help to build up the pectoral muscles that sit behind the breasts, therefore creating the illusion of firmer breasts. And how about simply because she enjoys it, right? So all, like a lot of those other things were sort of like health related stuff, and things to help your breast stay healthy and things to help your breast look better. Okay, that's great, and there is absolutely a place for doing breast massage specifically for those benefits. And Celine actually had an entire self breast massage course that she had out there as well for women who want to do breast massage on themselves for those reasons. But here we're mostly going to be talking about doing it to your partner. And sometimes you can do these things just because it's fun and because it happens to be great foreplay. Do we really need any other reason than that? Breasts are wonderful. They're fantastic. They're super fun. They should absolutely be incorporated into your lovemaking in some way. And this is a great way to incorporate them into that. And we're going to talk about, things to consider before you start, setting the scene, techniques, common mistakes that people make. So we're going to get into all of that stuff. But just know, at least for now anyway, that you should absolutely be incorporating the breasts into your lovemaking and your foreplay. It is a wonderful, beautiful, natural part of sexuality. Okay, so let's talk about some things to consider before you actually start. It'll make sense, of course, as we talk about it. It'll make even more sense when we start talking later on in the show about common mistakes that men make. But anyway, here we go. She will not always be in the mood for a breast massage. So keep that in mind, guys. Sometimes guys are like, I just want to play with her breasts. Okay, great. That's fine. Because who doesn't want to play with breasts, right? But just know that she's not always going to be in the mood for it. Which brings me to number 2. Her breast will be more tender at different times in her cycle, which is one of the reasons why she will not always be in the mood for it. There are times when women will say, oh yeah, I absolutely want my breasts touched. There are times when they'll say, I want you to pull or bite on my nipples. There are times when they'll say, ooh, just really gentle touch. And there are times when they're going to be like, don't come near them. Right? And all of those are equally valid. So know that if you do want to incorporate breast massage into your foreplay or your lovemaking, or maybe just something that you want to give to her just randomly, like it's not even associated with lovemaking per se. It's just like, hey, honey, I'd love to give you a breast massage right now. Just know that she may or may not be in the mood for it. Now, something else too is if she's never in the mood for it, if she's always like, no, thanks, but no, they're too tender. If she's always saying that, most likely the reason why is because she doesn't like the way that you do it. So one of the things that Celine and I have always said for many years is that if a woman is not that interested in sex with you, it's because she's not getting the kind of sex that she wants. And I mean, that really goes for anything. So if somebody's not into, a certain restaurant, well, why is that? Well, it's because they don't like the food. I mean, it's that simple. Somebody's not into a certain genre of music. It's because they don't like that genre of music. Like, oh, how come you never want to go see a punk rock show with me? And she's like, because I don't like punk rock music, right? So it's the same thing with sex. If she never wants her breasts touched, it's probably because she doesn't like the way that you touch them, which means you, as the partner, need to up your game. It's really that simple. But if she says at any particular time that she's not in the mood for it or she doesn't want them touched, know that very likely can be because they're really sensitive at that moment. Especially if she's been breastfeeding, there's going to be a lot of times when she's going to be like, don't touch them, right? They feel like they don't even belong to her anymore because there's always somebody grabbing at them, right? So, and that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly normal. So respect that. Some other things to consider before you start. What she wants when you do it will vary, not only time to time, but moment to moment. We talk about this all the time. Anytime we do a video on techniques for how to do something to a woman or for a woman, that applies. That what she's going to want in that moment is going to vary literally moment to moment. So, as I mentioned just a minute ago, sometimes she's going to want really, really gentle, nourishing touch. Sometimes she's going to be like, just squeeze them, pull on them, like whatever. You need to learn how to figure out what she wants. And so, sometimes this frustrates guys. Like they get so frustrated, like, really? Now I got to try to figure it out. It's not that hard. So, number one, simply ask her, what do you want? What are you in the mood for? What would feel good to you right now in this moment? Most women will be able to tell you what they want. If she doesn't tell you what she wants, if she's like, I don't really know, okay, that's fine. Start really slowly and really gentle, and then go from there. And we'll talk more about that when we get to technique, but just know that what she's going to want is going to vary time to time and moment to moment. Next, remember that this is about giving to her, and it's not about you. I cannot tell you how many times over the years Celine and I have worked with couples, and the guy says, I'm a giver. I'm just totally a giver. I don't understand why she doesn't want to receive from me because I'm just a giver. I just want to give all the time. Giving, so many of these men say that they're givers, but in reality, they're takers. Energetically, they're takers. So what does that mean? They're not giving a breast massage because they genuinely want to give one to her, because they want to make her feel good, or they want her to enjoy pleasure or just relax or whatever it is. They're giving it because they want to touch some boobs. It's like, yeah, I want to touch some boobs. I want to play with some boobs. I'm doing this for me. But they say that they're doing it for her, hence, therefore, they must be a giver. Yeah. Well, a lot of times that's not true. But anytime you are genuinely giving an act, especially something as intimate as a sexual act, you should be doing it because you want to give it as a gift to that person. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't also enjoy it and derive sexual pleasure from it, but primarily you're giving it to them because you want them to experience the pleasure. So that's something to keep in mind before you start. And next on the list is you should enjoy giving this to her as a gift. So I kind of incorporated that in, remembering this is about giving to her. And the last one is you must communicate with her before and during the massage. Really, really important. Don't forget to communicate. I know a lot of times people are like, oh, it takes me out of the moment and it kills the mood and it's not spontaneous anymore. Bullshit. All of that is bullshit. I'm not saying you have to have a full-on dialogue, but you can simply say, is that okay? Do you like this? Is the pressure all right? And so we either have often the guys who will not do any of that and just kind of do their own thing and just like hope it works and not pay much attention. And then we have the guys who are every second, is this okay? Is it all right? Is it okay if I go here? Is this too much pressure? Is it? Both of those are wrong. Find a happy medium. You want to communicate with her and you don't want to over communicate and get her in her head and take her out of the mood. So every once in a while, keep an eye on what's happening, and then where appropriate, say, is this pressure okay? Now, you should also be using your visual acuity skills, which we talk about a lot on this show, where you should be paying attention to what's the expression on her face. Is she like squinting, like, oh, that doesn't feel really good? Or is she totally relaxed? Are her eyes rolling back in her head? Is she starting to slow down her breathing and take big, relaxing breaths? Are her nipples getting erect? There's lots of different things that you can look for to see if she's really relaxing, enjoying it. So all of those things are things to consider before that you start. All right, so now you know why you should be giving her a breast massage. You know what you should be considering before you start. Let's talk about starting. And starting always starts with setting the scene. Another thing that we talk about a lot in sexual mastery is what we call intimacy before, during, and after lovemaking. Intimacy isn't just about that moment where you're naked and you're touching each other or penetrating or whatever it is. Intimacy starts long before that, and it is a whole set of skills. Again, powermastery.com. But in this case, and we talked about this too when we talked about the art of pussy worshiping and, how to finger a woman. And, basically any time that you're going to be giving to a woman, these things apply. It is necessary, of course, to talk about them again because this is a separate show and maybe people haven't listened to those previous shows. So they also need to know how to set the scene. Okay, so number one, setting the scene. Make sure that she is in a comfortable position. Anytime you're going to be giving to a woman and you want her to relax, you need to make sure that she is in a comfortable position. Think about it like this. Have you ever gotten a massage and for whatever reason, the table wasn't adjusted properly and like your head was in a weird angle or you were cold or you had to pee because you didn't go and you were just uncomfortable through the whole thing? Were you really able to relax in that moment and truly enjoy the massage if you were uncomfortable? No, the answer to that is no. So the same goes for this as well. One of the goals here with this breast massage is relaxation. We want her to be able to really relax and let go of whatever happened during the day, work stuff, raising the kids stuff, whatever it is. We want her to let go and relax. So you want to make sure that she is in a comfortable position. You want to make sure that she is warm. Most likely, while you can do breast massage over clothes, it is always best to do it topless. And if she's topless, she's likely to be cold. This is another thing you should know about women. They are often cold. They are very, very often cold. Even if it's summertime, she might be cold. So just make sure that you have a way for her to stay warm when she is either completely naked or partially naked. Next, dim the lights. Make it a pleasing environment. Put on some nice relaxing music, right? Make it, really think in terms like I'm using the massage analogy like a regular massage, when you go to a place. What is it like when you walk in there? The lights are low. They've usually got relaxing music on. They probably have some aromatherapy going. It's warm in there. Think like that. You're going to be giving this to her and you want that type of environment. So create that type of environment. It takes maybe a little bit of thought and a little bit of planning, but it is well worth it. So think in terms like that. I would also suggest, when setting the scene, to have some oil handy. Now, oil is not always necessary. In fact, if you do get into our sexual mastery program and you're in the module where we do the breast massage, you will see we are not actually using oil in that type of breast massage, but that's one type of breast massage. Oil is great. You can't really go wrong with it. It will work just fine. So I would suggest having some handy, especially if her breasts are more sensitive. A little oil will just make it glide a little smoother and make it feel a little softer. And also, here's another life truth bomb for you. Whatever oil you choose, if you can't eat it, you shouldn't be putting it on her breasts or anywhere else on her body. This is just one of those life things. Everything that touches your skin gets absorbed by your skin and ends up in your bloodstream. So don't use any of those crappy oils with a whole bunch of ingredients that you can't pronounce. If there's a bunch of chemically sounding things on the label and you can't even pronounce half of them, you should not be putting them on your body or her body. One of the things that contributes greatly to breast cancer in this world is toxicity, because a lot of toxins get trapped in the fatty tissue of the breasts. Let's not contribute to that, people. Please choose something that is healthy, something that if you were to eat it, you would be perfectly fine. Now, I know you can eat a lot of chemicals too, but trust me, you're not perfectly fine when you eat them. So that is our first truth bomb for the show. All right. So next we're going to get into actual techniques. And we're going to do the best I can to explain some of this. Some of it I'm not going to really be able to. And if you really want to go even deeper into the actual techniques, I highly recommend purchasing Sexual Mastery at powermastery.com or working with me one-on-one as a coach. I can go far deeper into it then. I can play videos for you if we work together, that sort of thing. So, but I will do the best I can to get you some really good technique stuff. And then we're going to talk about common mistakes that men make that we have personally witnessed in session with couples. And we're going, no, don't do that. Stop. So we'll talk about those things too. But before we do that, time for a word from our second sponsor. Are you a couple? Are your relationship and sex life where you want them to be? Are there changes you would like to make, but just don't know how? Maybe you think there is nothing that can be done. I challenge you to make 2023 the year that changes. If you are not 100% happy with where your relationship or sex life is, then get help today and change your life. Go to CelineRemy.com/sex-coaching-couples and schedule a strategy call with me today so we can map out a strategy to get you where you want to be so you can have it all your way. Go to CelineRemy.com/sex-coaching-couples and book your strategy call today. That link is in the description, so don't worry about having to remember it. It is right there for you. Just click on it. And I know for most of the time that Celine and I did this show, I would talk about the men's work and the men's coaching that I do. And I do that, and I love working with men. But Celine and I also worked with couples together, and I'm continuing that by working with couples on my own now. We can be so much more effective when we get to work with both people in a relationship, because remember, a relationship takes two. It always takes two. No matter how great one person is doing, if the other person isn't on board, it's not going to work. So while you can make fantastic progress working on your own, because you will notice that as you change and shift and grow and learn new things, you will see your partner respond to that change and shift and grow. So yes, you can make a lot of progress working on your own if your partner doesn't want to do it with you. But you can make even more progress when you work together with your partner, when you both show up with intentions to improve your sex life, your love life, your relationship. So CelineRemy.com/sex-coaching-couples. There's no time like right now to improve your sex, love, and relationship. Okay, so let's get into some techniques now. How do we actually do this? Well, the first thing after you've set the scene, of course, is to decide if you will be behind her or in front of her. So you can do a breast massage on your partner, either from behind or from in front. The video in powerandmastery.com where we teach this, we are demonstrating from behind. And that actually was one of Celine's favorite ways to do it. So how does that work? What does that look like? Well, you would sit upright with your legs spread, with your back up against something. Maybe you're on a couch or a chair and you can lean against that, or maybe a nice pillow behind you if you're in bed. She would then lay down between your legs and lay on your body. And then you would be able to reach around and have excellent access to her breasts in a way that is really comfortable for both her and you. That was Celine's favorite way to receive a breast massage. She could just lay down. She was connected to my body because she was laying physically on my body. And she could just completely relax, close her eyes, and it was just comfortable for both of us. Now, you can do a breast massage with her just laying down. So maybe she's on a massage table, or maybe she's just laying down on the bed, or a mattress on the floor, or however you have things set up. That works perfectly fine too. The one thing I would caution, though, is a lot of times guys want to straddle her because that's like the best position for us to get access, because then we're straight on, right? So we're kind of sitting on top of her and we can reach very well. But in general, it's not always the case, but in general, as men, we tend to be bigger and heavier than our women. And so that can really put a lot of weight on top of her and isn't always the most comfortable position for her to relax in. So often if she's going to be laying down and you're going to be massaging her from the front, you'll be kind of off to the side. Now, I was not a big fan of off to the side because, if you're going to be doing this for any period of time, that sort of like sideways reaching over, kind of like awkward, would start to hurt my back after a while. Maybe if you're younger, that's not so much of an issue for you. But it was for me. And so again, if you're going to be doing this for a while, which you should be, right? Like you're thinking about this as not just a 2 or 3 minute thing so that we can move on to penetration. Like this is something that you're going to give to her for a while, at least anyway. So make sure that you are in a position that's really comfortable for you to work. If you're a massage therapist, which I am not a massage therapist, although I have taken classes on giving massage just because I wanted to learn how to give a good massage to my partner. One of the first things they teach you is how to be in the proper position so you don't hurt yourself, because you can't continue to give for any length of time if you're literally hurting your own body. So decide which position you want to be in. Like I said, I always preferred being in the behind position, but the front works too. Again, start with some oil. You don't have to, but it is a nice way to start. And then here's a really important one, number 3 on the list here. Don't go right to the breasts. I know it's a breast massage, right? So of course we're going to massage the breast, but don't just be like, okay, lay down, boom, go straight to the breasts. With women, it's not that way. We actually have a whole free handout that you can get on powermastery.com, I believe, that is I think it's like 9 erogenous zones before you get to her pussy. And there's a bunch of them that are even before you get to the breasts. With women, you start from the outside, you work in, right? So you start from the outside, meaning, massaging her shoulders or her neck or her head or something like that, and then working your way towards the breasts and then eventually to her pussy. Whereas with men, it's pretty much the opposite. You can go straight to their genitals. They'll love it. They'd have no problem with that. Can you start outward on a man and work your way in? Absolutely. He's probably not going to have a problem with that either. But just know that while he's laying there naked and you're touching his shoulders, he's thinking, I can't wait for her to get to my cock. Like that's just a reality of life. But with women, totally not the way to do it. So start by massaging her shoulders, especially if you're in that behind position, right? You can reach her shoulders and her neck and go down her arms and start to get her really relaxed. The more relaxed she becomes, the more receptive she's going to be to the actual breast massage. So, number 3, don't go right to the breasts. Start external, move your way in slowly to the breasts. Number 4, when you get to the breasts, start with really light pressure. Really light. Start, and unless she's like in that moment going, I want you to grab them, you probably shouldn't. And she's probably not going to be in that mood. So like, there are totally times where she is, but that's usually after she's been really warmed up and she's really turned on. And so you've been making love for a while, and you've been doing penetration. She's just super into it and going. She might then be like, oh, grab my breasts, oh, pull on my nipples or suck on my nipple or whatever it is. But in this particular case where we're starting with a breast massage, it's going to take a little time for her to get there. So start with really, really light pressure. In general, you want to glide slowly and smoothly. So no sort of harsh movements or jerky movements. Slow and smooth. I'm going to talk a little bit next about some techniques. And this is the part where it's a little bit more difficult on a podcast for me to really explain how this goes. And I know some of you are going to want visuals, but do the best you can. Okay, so if you're behind her, start by running your hands down the outsides of her breast. So kind of along the side of the body, down the outsides. And as you get down to the bottom, kind of scoop them up and together and gently squeeze the breast together as you move your hands down and then back up over the breast. And you kind of get into this sort of circular motion, a gentle circular motion. It's a really great place to start. Most women will enjoy that, especially if you do it gentle. So keep your movements smooth, gentle, and rhythmic. Remember, this is supposed to be relaxing until she really starts asking for more. Keep it smooth, gentle, and rhythmic. Next, if she would like nipple stimulation, so this is something she may or may not want. So she may be really loving the breast massage, but her nipples might be sensitive. So first, easiest way to figure out whether or not she wants nipple stimulation is to simply ask her, is it okay if I massage your nipples? And she'll say yes or no. Another thing that you could potentially do is, as you're doing that movement that I described before, as you're coming back up, you're most likely going to be gently brushing over the nipples. Watch her reaction when you do that. Is she kind of like, or she's like, yes. So pay attention to those things. If she is open to the nipple stimulation, then very gently circle the nipples with the tips of your fingers with super light pressure. Less is typically more in this situation. So go really, really gently, and don't focus like sometimes when guys give breast massage, they're like they're massaging the breasts and then they just want to get to the nipples and they're like all about the nipples. That can be completely just overstimulating and just too much for a lot of women. So give her some nipple stimulation, but don't hang there the entire time. Remember, her breasts are far more than just her nipples. Okay, if she's warmed up and at the right time of her cycle, she may want stronger touch. Great. So if she asks for it, great. Then you know exactly what she wants and you can give it to her. If she doesn't, but you're feeling like it seems like she might be in that space, simply ask her, is it okay if I give you a little bit firmer pressure? And she'll say, yes, that's great. Or no, what you're doing is just perfect. Just stay there. Either way, it's great. But definitely check in with her and remember, she's not always going to be in the mood for that. Sometimes she will, sometimes she won't. It's largely going to depend on where she's at in her cycle. So just make sure that you're communicating with her and that you're using your visual acuity skills again. Okay, let's talk about some more moves. There are lots of moves. If you watch the video in Power and Mastery, you're going to see things like gentle squeezing of the breasts together, up and down, moving in circles, armpit squeezes, the cleavage lift. There are lots of different moves. Again, like if I'm talking about the cleavage lift, I can somewhat describe it, but it doesn't totally, like you don't really get the full idea of how to do it without seeing it. I get that. And as stated above, I can't actually show it to you here on YouTube or through a podcast. What I want you to do, what I want you to get out of this from this episode is don't worry so much about this move, that move. Just do things that feel good for her. So be a little bit creative. And to do that, you have to really be paying attention. So think about, gently moving them together, lifting movements. Women really like that. Movements that lift the breasts up rather than pulling them down. So just think about what would feel really good. Things that are gentle, upward lifting movements, gentle circles. Allow yourself to get creative. Circle the nipples, maybe gently, I don't even want to use the word pinching because it's not even the right word, but just lightly holding on to the nipples. Just think about things like that. Allow yourself to be creative. Remember, I said at the beginning of this episode that you should love what you do. So if you love giving a breast massage and you love touching breasts, then allow yourself to get really creative with it and like, let me try this. Let me see how this works, right? Let me see how that works. Let me see how she responds to this. And just really have fun with it. Don't get too caught up in the, I got to do move A and then move B. I'm going to use a martial arts analogy here, which doesn't really seem at first like it's going to apply to breast massage, but it will. Hang in there with me for a moment. In martial arts, especially in traditional Japanese martial arts, they will teach you katas, right? What is a kata? A kata is a series of moves. First they'll teach you moves, then they'll teach you katas, which is a series of moves. And they will teach you this over and over and over again for years and years and years and years and years. They want those moves to be in your muscle memory. But then eventually you need to let go of the katas and the rigid combinations of moves. And you're supposed to be able to free flow from one move to another and literally create your own new katas or combinations spontaneously in the moment. That is really the place that ultimately you want to get to with martial arts. So you're no longer thinking, I'm doing the Nakamura kata, or I'm doing the, Toyama-yu kata, or anything like that. You're not thinking about those types of things. You're just thinking about moves and how they flow together. So ultimately, you want to get there with all of your sexual techniques as well. You're not thinking about, I'm doing move A, the squeeze together move. Now I'm moving on to move B, the lifting move. Now right, you get it. Don't think of it in terms like that. Think of it in terms of just flowing smoothly from one move to another in a way that feels sort of seamless and pleasurable and like it was all just meant to be. And hey, it's going to take time. If you're not that good at it, which honestly, a lot of guys really are not, it's okay. Just take your time, ask for feedback. Don't be insulted if she tells you she doesn't like something you're doing, or if she tries to say, hey, what I would really like is this or that. That's amazing. I see so many guys get offended when a woman says, "Oh, I don't like that. Could you please do it this way?" And they're like, anytime that she's telling you what she wants and what will work for her, great, fantastic, amazing, love it. Absolutely take that and go with it. Because ultimately, what you want is for her to be happy and have pleasure, right? So why not do the things that she's telling you will make her happy and give her pleasure? So again, don't get too caught up in the moves. Have fun with it, flow with it. And of course, that next one on the list is have fun with it, right? Really just enjoy it. There was a story Celine would tell. I don't remember the exact details of it. So, I'll give you the super, super short version, but it had to do with a client who was paralyzed and couldn't feel anything from the waist down. And he had literally trained himself to be able to orgasm from the sensations that he felt in his fingers, because that was one of the places he could feel things. And what's so amazing about that is, think about that. Think about what you can feel in your own hands as you're giving that breast massage. So yeah, the intention is to give to her and for her to feel enjoyment and pleasure. But you too can also feel pleasure. You can really feel the energy of her and the energy of the moves that you're doing through your hands while you're giving. So have fun with it. And then the last thing, as far as technique goes, is, people always say, well, how long should I do this? For as long as you and her both want to. So she may be okay with a few minutes of it. She may want 15 minutes of it. You may be perfectly fine doing it for a little while, but maybe your hands are getting tired or whatever's happening. That's fine. It really should go until you both feel complete with it. Generally erring on the side of she feels complete. In other words, if you're like, no, I still want to keep going, but she's complete, well, then you're complete, right? But you should be able to get to a point where she's like, wow, that was so amazing, so beautiful. I'm so turned on now, and I'm good. That's really the place that you want to get to. So those are some techniques. Again, I know I didn't give you like do move A and then move B. Just remember, you can find more of that type of stuff at powermastery.com. I'm sure there are other videos where they talk about that too. Don't get caught up in the moves. It's far more important that you do all that other stuff, setting the scene correctly, communicating, all the things I talked about, what your position is. Don't go right to the breasts. Start with light pressure, glide slowly and smoothly, be gentle and rhythmic, communicate, all that stuff. If you do all of those things, you will not go wrong, and she will be happy and grateful for what you have given to her. All right. Lastly, I want to cover a couple of common mistakes that we see men making when giving breast massage. Number one, not asking what she wants or needs. So this is like, hey, I just want to touch boobs. I'm going to go in there and I'm just going to do what I want to do. No, wrong, don't do it. Just ask her. So, you're going to be communicating with her. Hey, honey, I would love to give you a breast massage. Is that something you would like? If she says, okay, what is it that you are wanting and needing in this moment? What would feel good to you? And just let her tell you. And if she says, I don't know, then you say, okay, I'm just going to start. And if something isn't what you like, just let me know. So mistake number one is that a lot of times guys do not communicate and they do not ask what she wants or needs. Number two, not making her comfortable. Like all of a sudden you're on the couch and you're just going in for the breast massage. And she's like, this is like the worst position ever. I'm so not comfortable. You just pulled my shirt off, but now I'm freezing over here. Make her comfortable. Remember all that setting the scene stuff. Too many guys just want to jump right in there without taking the time to really set the scene, which is going to make a big difference. Number three, starting out too hard. Oh man, this one. Breasts are delicate. Women want for the most part, most of the time, gentle touch on them, especially when you're first starting out. We've seen this, and this actually goes. I'm going to talk about number 4 on the list too, and then I'm going to tell you some stories about working with clients. The next one is massaging like you're kneading dough. You're not kneading dough. Have you ever made? I don't know. I'm guessing a lot of guys have never actually made bread. They just kind of know that dough kneading process. One thing you may or may not know about Celine is that she was a fantastic chef and made everything at home from scratch, including baking her own bread on a regular basis multiple times a week. She also taught me how to do it because it is actually a fair amount of work. So every once in a while, she would ask me to do it because she was too busy or tired, or especially when she wasn't feeling well. I took over those duties so that she could have fresh, healthy bread to eat. So therefore, I know a little something about kneading bread. And I can tell you, don't do that to a woman's breasts. Just don't do it. Don't do it. Kneading motion is great for hamstrings, quads, right? Maybe biceps or something. Keep it off the breasts. One of the things when it came to coaching couples, and Celine would have couples physically, if they were in the area, she would have them physically over in her session room space. And she would often say, okay, now we're going to do this. And the first thing she would do is ask the man, okay, give her a breast massage. Let's see how you generally give a breast massage, without really giving pointers first. I can't tell you how many times guys would dive in there and start kneading bread. They're in there kneading bread. No. And you can see the look on the women's faces like, ah! No, don't do it. So that's yet another mistake. They start out too hard, and then the other one is they massage like they are kneading dough. Please don't do any of those. Refer to the techniques mentioned above. Next mistake, pulling too hard on the nipples. Why do guys always want to yank on the nipples? I don't know why. Maybe it's a thing from childhood. I don't know. But for some reason, we also witness guys doing that way too much. Now, like I said, there are moments when she might ask for that. And I've definitely had women, including Celine, say, oh, yeah, that feels so good right now in this moment. That was during the correct time of their cycle. And that was also when they were really warmed up and really horny and really wanting a lot of stimulation. In general, though, please don't pull hard on the nipples. Next, not paying attention to where she is at and what she needs in the moment. I've talked extensively in this show about using your visual acuity skills, paying attention to her facial expressions, her breathing patterns. Are her nipples erect? Is the color of her breasts changing? Is the color in her face changing? All of these things. Is she kind of writhing around because all of a sudden it's like really awakening her sexual energy and she's getting really horny? Pay attention to that stuff. Too many times we witness guys, they're just going in, they're doing the knead and dough thing, they're pulling on the nipples, and they're just doing stuff, and they're not paying attention to how that's affecting the person they're actually doing it to. All right, and lastly, giving a short massage and then moving on too quickly. That's another mistake guys make. Like, sure, I'll give you a breast massage. They get in there, they do a minute or so of knead and dough, they yank on the nipples a couple of times, and like, all right, let's go, penetration, baby. Woohoo! No. If you're in it to actually give a breast massage, give it time. Remember, women need time. You have to slowly stoke their fire most of the time. Now, of course, if you've been doing the constant state of arousal thing that Celine and I have been teaching for years, they will need less stoking, but they're still going to need some stoking. So start slowly and be in it for a while. Now, how long is a while? I can't necessarily tell you. That's going to depend on the woman. But in general, if you're going to say, hey, honey, I'm going to give you a breast massage, figure it's going to be at least 10 minutes or more. Right? I mean, it's going to take her that long just to even be able to relax into it. So That's another mistake men make. They're just like, okay, here we go, real quick, boom, 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 breast one, boom, breast two. All right, baby, let's go. Let's do something else. No, slow down, take your time, and give her a proper breast massage. All right, if you could just do that without worrying too much about the technique or specific move, you will be able to give her the best breast massage she has ever had in her entire life. And she's going to get super horny, and she's going to want more from you.
Do I make you horny?
Yes, that will make her horny, and she's going to want more. So, and it's even still, this is not about making her horny so that she wants to have sex with you. I have done this for Celine just to do it. And we didn't even have sex afterwards, just because it made her feel good. The same way that we would expect her to, give us a testicle massage or give us a blowjob, right? There are thousands of times over the years where she would give me a blowjob just because she knows that I like it and because it feels good without there having to be any expectation for anything afterwards. So this is one thing that you can do back for her. So is giving her a pussy massage or doing the art of worshiping the pussy that we did an episode on. So yeah, there doesn't have to be anything in return. Do it because you love her and you love to do it. And if you just follow everything that I gave you in this episode, she will absolutely love it. I guarantee. Whether she wants more or whether you just stop there, she's going to love it and she's going to appreciate it. So there you go, everybody. That is how to give a breast massage like a pro. I hope that you found this helpful and useful, and I would love to hear your feedback in the comments. Try this at home. You can comment on the podcast. You can comment on our website where we also post the podcast, and you can comment on YouTube. Tell me how it worked for you. Tell me what her feedback was. And hey, if you've got things to add also that you have figured out that work really well for your woman, put it in the comments. Would love to hear it. All right, everybody, that's all the time I have for this episode, and I will see you next week. We hope you liked this episode of the Love Lab podcast. If you enjoy this show, subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with your friends.
And for more free, exclusive content, join us in the Passion Vault at CelineRemy.com/vault. That's CelineRemy.com/vault.
Thanks for listening.
And remember, you're amazing.